Kang Ji-won is hospitalized with late-stage stomach cancer. Even after 10 days, she still hasn't seen her husband, Park Min-hwan. She lies to herself, believing he couldn't possibly be that heartless. But deep down, she already knows the truth. From the very first day of their marriage, Ji-won sensed something was wrong. Min-hwan appeared gentle and considerate, but his mother quickly revealed her true nature. She would pretend to be warm and affectionate, hugging Ji-won after putting on a show of kindness. Yet the moment she noticed Ji-won's background, she changed completely, speaking in a sweet tone while belittling her for having no parents and no upbringing. Ji-won immediately realized her mother-in-law was no ordinary woman. Just 3 months into the marriage, the insults began. She raged that her son was the only heir of the family and mocked Ji-won for being unable to bear children, calling her useless. Although Min-hwan half-heartedly told his mother to stop, his actions said otherwise. When he accidentally spilled hot coffee on Ji-won, he didn't check if she was hurt, he only lamented the wasted coffee. The only comfort Ji-won had was her best friend, Young Soo-min, who constantly encouraged her. With her marriage falling apart, Ji-won poured herself into work, yet her boss continued to nitpick and criticize her. One day, while bending down to retrieve documents, her nose suddenly started bleeding. The hospital test results left her stunned. She had terminal stomach cancer and likely less than a year to live. When her mother-in-law heard the news, she cried, not out of sorrow, but resentment. She blamed Min-hwan for marrying such a burden, and even hinted that he should prepare for the future. Their cruel conversation took place right in front of Ji-won, without any attempt to hide it. Now hospitalized alone, Ji-won mentally prepares herself for the worst. The doctor informs her that continuing treatment requires payment approval from a family member. Only then does Ji-won discover that out of 6 treatment stages, Min-hwan had paid for just 1. She repeatedly calls him, but he never answers. Her hands shake with anger. She sends him a message, reminding him that she supported the household with her salary for years and begging him to at least cover her medical bills. There is no reply. With no other choice, Ji-won drags her weak body into a taxi and heads home, unaware that this ride will change her fate forever. The driver casually asks if she's in a hurry. Weakly, she replies that it doesn't matter anymore since she won't live long. The driver glances at her and tells her that only by reaching the end of the road can one know the outcome. He takes a different route, passing through a tunnel. When they arrive, Ji-won pays the fare. The driver pretends to accept it, but after she steps out, he returns the money, saying it's his last day as a taxi driver and that she should keep it as a memento. Though confused, Ji-won accepts it, unaware that this small act will later ignite her will to fight back and overturn her life. Something about the driver feels strange, but Ji-won can't pinpoint why. She opens the door to her home and freezes. A pair of familiar red high heels sits by the entrance. As she walks inside, scattered clothes on the floor fill her with dread. When she sees her own bed occupied, her heart shatters. There, in her home, are Park Min-hwan and her best friend, Young Soo-min. Worse still, Min-hwan openly wishes for Ji-won's death so he can collect her life insurance, promising to buy Soo-min luxury brand bags afterward. Soo-min is delighted. Though rage surges through Ji-won, she knows her body can't take it. She tries to endure, until she notices something intimate on the table, dirty and carelessly discarded. That sight pushes her past her last shred of restraint. Fresh from chemotherapy, Ji-won nearly collapses. Min-hwan doesn't care. He walks past her with Soo-min and even raises his hand as if to hit her. Ji-won can hardly believe it. This woman is her closest friend. As Min-hwan pulls up his pants, a jar of rainbow candies spills onto the floor. At the time, it seems meaningless, but those candies will later play a crucial role. Furious, Min-hwan lunges at Ji-won, only to be stopped by Soo-min. Soo-min pretends to apologize, telling Ji-won to stop making trouble and selfishly clinging to life when she's going to die anyway. Ji-won finally snaps. She grabs Soo-min's bag and strikes her with all her strength. Min-hwan explodes in anger, shouting that someone who's about to die should just die quietly. He shoves Ji-won hard. That single push ends her life. Min-hwan and Soo-min aren't afraid. They had already planned everything. Ji-won often fainted due to illness. This would be ruled an accident. But when Ji-won opens her eyes again, a blurry face looms over her. She quickly puts on her glasses, only to see a man reaching toward her inappropriately. She screams, loud enough for the entire office to hear. The horror she experienced feels vivid and real, as if it just happened. Blinded by hatred, Ji-won instinctively wants to attack, but she is stopped by her department head, Yoo Ji-hyuk. Disoriented, Dwon finally comes back to her senses. Something is wrong. Why is she at the office? She walks to a mirror and freezes. Her face is healthy, not pale and sickly like before. Shocked, she stumbles backward, twisting her ankle and falling hard to the floor. A kettle of boiling water tips over, about to spill, but Yoo Ji-hyuk blocks it with his hand. That moment leads Ji-won to a terrifying realization. In the crowd, she sees a familiar face. It's Young Soo-min, the same woman who told her to die. Seeing Soo-min standing there, alive and smiling, mirrors the final image Ji-won saw before her death. Without time to think, Ji-won turns and runs. When Kang Ji-won rushes outside, she finally realizes that everything around her has changed. Yoo Ji-hyuk asks what's wrong, but Ji-won has no idea how to answer. Only then does she realize something even stranger. Back then, Ji-hyuk had barely ever spoken to her. In an entire year, they exchanged fewer than 10 sentences. Yet now, he is gentle, considerate, and even insists on walking her home. Noticing that Ji-won doesn't have any money on her, Ji-hyuk decisively takes out a thick stack of cash and hands it to her, telling her to use it for now. Ji-won refuses, but he says she left the office in a hurry without her bag and practically forces the money into her hand. His behavior feels suspicious, as if he's hiding something. When Ji-won gets home, she organizes the cash, and suddenly freezes. On one of the bills, there is a small heart drawn on it. That exact bill is the same one the taxi driver gave her on the day of the accident. Drawing hearts on money was something her father used to do. He once told her that putting a heart on money before giving it to his daughter would protect her and bring her good fortune. Back then, she had felt the taxi driver was strangely familiar. Now she finally understands. The driver was her deceased father. If that's the case, then her return to 10 years ago, was this her father giving her a second chance? Just then, the door opens. Standing there is Park Min-hwan, her future husband, still her boyfriend at this point. Ji-won quickly wipes away her tears. Seeing that she seems upset, Min-hwan suggests they go out for drinks. Ji-won knows he has no good intentions, but she agrees anyway. They soon arrive at a roadside food stall. Min-hwan insists he doesn't mean anything by it, but says it's better to clear things up. He downs a glass of alcohol, whether to give himself courage or avoid embarrassment, Ji-won can't tell. Then he blurts out, "We haven't done anything lately, so how could you be pregnant?" Ji-won is stunned. What did you say?" Min-hwan explains that Ji-won mentioned feeling nauseous recently, like she might be pregnant. Only then does Ji-won remember that at the time, her stomach really did feel uncomfortable. Later, she found out it was just gastritis, but she ignored it, which eventually led to her stomach cancer. Seeing her remain silent, Min-hwan assumes she truly is pregnant, and his true nature immediately surfaces. On the surface, he praises her for being pure, but then complains that having a child now would trap him like a bird in a cage. Then he says casually, "So I'll only pay half." Ji-won doesn't understand at first. Half of what? Only later does she realize, he means half the cost of getting rid of the baby. Surprisingly, Ji-won doesn't get angry. Compared to the monster she saw before her death, this version of Min-hwan is still holding back. When Ji-won finally says she isn't pregnant, just that her period is late, Min-hwan immediately stands up and leaves without another word. But Ji-won underestimates his nature. He doesn't get far before chasing after her, furious at being rejected. He shouts insults, asking who she thinks she is, and even raises his hand to hit her. In her past life, Ji-won had grown used to this kind of violence after marriage, but this time, she refuses to give in. She screams for help at the top of her lungs. Passers-by immediately gather, forcing Min-hwan to retreat. Back home, she stares at the balance in her bank account and wants to slap herself. How could she have been so stupid back then? In the past, Min-hwan had taken her money to gamble in stocks. The only stock that ever made money was UNK, Loda. That means she can use the little money she still has, invest carefully, and completely change her future. Escape this life for good. Minhwan